all the things in the world to be thankful for. I'm thankful I got this thing going this morning. Yes, visuals. Visuals. Observable things, right? Yeah. 3 observable behaviors from really Matthew chapter 16 and verse 24. We're going to drop back to the 21st verse, look at the context. From that time, Jesus began to show his disciples, particularly the 12, that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and on the 3rd day be raised. And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, Far be it from you, Lord, this shall never happen to you. But he turned and said to Peter, Get behind me, Satan. You are a hindrance to me, for you are not setting your mind on the things of God, but on the things of man. Then Jesus told his disciples, all of them, all of us, in case we miss it, okay? In case we miss it, all of us. If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. So what does Jesus expect of his followers? It's safe to say that Peter had pretty much been hanging around Jesus. Hanging around. Listening to him preach, all right? Watching him perform miracles, but like a lot of people, really not making a commitment to follow Jesus. So in the text, Peter was trying to lead Jesus rather than to follow Jesus. Jesus, I'm telling you how it's really going to be now. It's not going to be like you said, Jesus. Here's what's going to happen. And you know what? Jesus called him Satan. Right? Not a Satan, but actually Satan. He's doing Satan's work. So who's he following? He's following Satan. And you know what else? You know what else? Jesus tells Peter? He tells him to get back in his place. Well, what's his place? Get behind me, Satan. Get back in your place. Follow me. Don't follow Satan. Don't follow your own will. Get back in your place. Now, as we look at this, what does it mean to be committed to Christ? Well, Jesus is going to have to give us that answer, isn't he? He's going to have to explain to us what it means to be committed to him. What does he expect of us? Because if I make the choice what it means to be committed to Christ, what do I know? I'm stuck down here in this world, this fallen world, and I'm an agent to a large degree of this fallen world, right? I live here. I don't see what he sees. I don't know what he knows. I think he's probably got a better answer than me. But he tells us in this passage that our commitment to him is measured in 3 observable behaviors. I think you'll agree with me when you see them. Number 1, the way I see myself relative to Jesus' purpose. You can put that in the self mode for you. The way I see myself relative to Jesus' purpose. What does he say? If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself. Peter hadn't learned to deny himself. He still wanted to be in charge. He wanted to be his own master. He wanted to be Jesus' master. He wanted to tell Jesus what to do. He pulled him aside and rebuked him. Jesus, you're wrong. Can you imagine that? Come on, how many times have we told Jesus he's wrong? Well, maybe we didn't say that, but how many times have we exhibited observable behaviors that really said, Jesus, you're wrong. I'm going to do it my way. That's why it's observable behaviors. Peter was actually hindering the work, trying to hinder the work of Christ. He needed to learn to say, not my will, but your will be done. Jesus, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry this has to happen. That you have to suffer and die and be raised again so people will understand that you're the Christ, the Son of the living God. If that's what needs to be done, then Godspeed. The word deny here is in the present tense in the Greek, the Koine Greek. And that means a continual action. So it doesn't mean, I'll deny myself one time. Hey, I denied myself a chocolate chip cookie that my wife brought home. No sugar added. I denied myself one of those. I got my denial, my self-denial done for today, right? Maybe for the next week. No.
I blew it.
You blew it already. So. But you, well, I'm just making an analogy.
Sugar free.
Yeah. I'm just making an analogy. I'm trying to. It's just not a one-time thing. It's a continual way of life. A life of denying self and saying, Jesus, your Lord, your will be done, not my will. We don't deny ourselves at one time. It's a life of self-denial, and that it comes from the start. See, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17, if any man is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have what? Passed away. What does that mean?
Gone.
If something's passed away,
It's gone.
it died. It died. All things are become new. My will should be gone. Oh, I wish it was that easy. I wish it was that easy. But I got to work on it every day. Every day. But that's what Jesus said. How do I see myself in relation to Jesus' purpose? Am I like Peter? Lord, it ain't going to happen that way. I know better. If I really come to self-denial and saying, your will, not mine, be done. I got work to do. Maybe you're saying, you got work to do too. But Peter had work to do. Keep that in mind. Okay? Keep that in mind. Secondly, the second observable behavior, the way the world sees me relative to Jesus' purpose. The way the world sees you individually relative to Jesus' purpose. If anyone would come after me, let him take up his cross. Well, what does that mean? The cross was a cruel and shameful instrument of death. You see a lot of people wearing crosses, don't you? Don't see too many people wearing electric chairs. That's kind of the symbol today, isn't it? Gas chamber. Well, what else you got? Well, swords, you know, chop the head off, or guillotines. People wear crosses. Why? The Romans, that was the Romans' way of executing people. But they so despised it that they made a law that Roman citizens could not be put to death by the cross. They had to have their heads chopped off. And Paul apparently was beheaded. Why? Because it's quick and it's kind of painless. But the cross, that was torture. That was to create pain. That was to keep the person alive as long as possible until they eventually died. But listen, that wasn't the only thing. People would line the streets to curse at, spit upon, and demean the condemned as they carried their cross to the site of execution. Imagine that if that was going on today. You know, kids get out of school, you know, and they're walking home from school, and here comes somebody down the street carrying a cross. You know what their thought is? That person ain't coming back. Old things have passed away. Something new's coming. We got to pass away. Self-denial. But part of that's taking up his cross, our cross. Now, think about Peter here. Lord, it's not going to happen to you. And just maybe Peter doesn't want that to happen to Jesus. Jesus, I don't want to see you go to the cross. I'm going to defend you. I'm going to take my sword. I'm going to cut somebody's ear off. Because I don't want that. I don't want you to have to suffer that. I don't want to see people spitting on you and cursing you. Maybe. Or maybe Peter doesn't want that to happen to him. I think maybe that's what Peter's looking at here. Jesus, if they do that to you, what are they going to do to me? Jesus said if they do this in the dry brush, what are they going to do to the green? Is that what it is? Or if they do this with the green, what are they going to do in the dry brush? Put it wherever you want. You know, look it up. It's one of those two. But there. Now, I think it's it. Peter was intently interested in the way people looked at him, what people thought of him. He wanted to be a good old boy, didn't he? He really did. You know, when Jesus was popular, where was he? Right there with Jesus. When Jesus wasn't popular, when Jesus was on trial, where was he? He's out by the camp, in the camp, warming himself by the fire, cursing, I don't know him. What did he want other people to see? When Jesus was popular, he wanted people to see him. It's like sometimes people at church want people to see them at church, but when they're out in the world, they want to see them as part of the world. And people see them as hypocrites. So, just like with the word deny there, the word for take up is a continuing action word. Luke chapter 9, verse 23, same context, same passage type, but the word daily is put there. Take up your cross daily and follow after me. But even that's not, it's not like a one-a-day vitamin. Put down my cross one time. It's a continual action deal, see? It's just not one death. You know, if it was one death, hey, I'm tired of this. Let's get it over with. Just kill me and let's get it over with. Brothers and sisters, that's not what it is. We got to die every day. We got to die to self every day. We got to die for Christ every day. People in the world have to see us dying for Christ every day. For His. Galatians chapter 2, verse 20. Paul understood it, didn't he? I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. So that's continuing action there. And the life that I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. Yeah, that death leads to life. But we got to keep it going over and over. Third, observable behavior. The way Jesus sees me relative to his purpose. How does Jesus see me? How does Jesus see you? If anyone would come after me, let him follow. And again, The word follow is continuing action. I followed Jesus 10 years ago for about 5 minutes. I'm done. There it is. I did it. No. It means to go with a person. And it's especially used of 3 groups of people in the New Testament. Okay? Soldiers. Matthew chapter 8, verse 9. Here's that centurion talking to Jesus. For I too am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. I say to one, go, and he goes, and to another, come, and he comes, and to my servant, do this, and he does it. Why? He's following orders. He's doing what he's supposed to do. What if he doesn't do what he's supposed to do? He's going to get punished. Yeah. Servants, Matthew chapter 25, verse 26. This is the parable of the talents. Remember the 1 talent man? What did he do with these talents? He buried it in the earth. In the earth. That's important to understand. He didn't use it for spiritual things. He buried it in the earth. So there's a little bit of metaphorical reasoning going on there too. But his master answered him, you wicked and slothful servant. Now, listen to this very carefully, this last part. You knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I scattered no seed? That's a question. That's a rhetorical question, isn't it? You knew what kind of a man I am, and you still did that? You knew what kind of a master I am, and you still did that? Whoa. Do we know what kind of a person Jesus is? The Lord is merciful toward us when we make mistakes, when we have some shortcomings. But I will tell you something. Rebellion is not tolerated by the Lord. It's just not. Third group, pupils, in which falls under the category of disciples, right? Luke chapter 6 and verse 40, a disciple is not above his teacher or his master, but everyone, when he is fully trained, will be like his teacher. That's what we're supposed to be doing, becoming more like Jesus every day. See how that all goes along? Now listen, Jesus saw Peter in different ways relative to his purpose. Okay. Please understand this. Peter was a work in progress. Fred Riley Jr. is a work in progress. We are all works in progress. Jesus saw Peter negatively walking on the water, right? Remember the sermon not too long ago? Peter in the boat, right? Lord, if it's you, what was the word? Ask me, call me. Come on out there to you. Come on, give it a try, Peter. Just see what you can do. So that was negative. He wanted to do his own thing. He didn't want to stay in the boat, which represented the church and the structure of the church, the doctrines and the practices of the church. He wanted to do his own thing. So he saw him negative there. He saw him negatively in rebuking him, in rebuking Jesus. Get behind you, Satan. Get in your place. How about later on denying him? I don't know the man. Cursing and swearing. I don't know him. But positively, there are some positives there, right? His ultimate confession of Christ. We believe that you are the Christ, the Son of the living God, Matthew chapter 16. Jesus said, upon this rock, that confession, I will build my church. Opening the door to the kingdom church at Pentecost in Acts chapter 2. He was a leader. He had to learn, but he was able to learn, and he's able to do these things. And then being crucified for the cause of Christ, and what tradition tells us is, he said, no, I don't deserve to be crucified like Jesus. Crucify me upside down. None of the positive behaviors were possible until Peter made a commitment to Christ to deny himself, take up his cross daily, and follow Jesus. That's what it was about, isn't it? That's what it was about. So, as Christians, guess what? We are soldiers. We are servants. We are disciples of Jesus Christ. Our commitment to Christ is measured by 3 observable behaviors: denying oneself, taking up one's cross, and following Jesus. We got a part in judging ourselves. We need to see, how does the world really view me? As a Christian, or are they laughing at me because they see me as a hypocrite? How does Jesus see me? Well, really, all 3 of them are judgments that I have to make about myself, but I have to apply. How's this seen? Do we see these behaviors in our own lives? See? Do you see these behaviors in your life? Well, that stuff's for others. No. That tough stuff, that's for the clergy. You know, a lot of churches have clergy and laity. That's for the preachers and the elders and the deacons, you know. That's for those people. You know, that's not what the Bible says, right? Does the world see these behaviors in your life? Lord, again, what does the world see? Does Jesus see these behaviors in your life? 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 8. Paul talks about his life. And he says, I have kept the faith, I have finished my course, I have finished my course, I have kept the faith. I forget what the middle one is. Henceforth there's a crown of life laid up for me, that the Lord, the righteous judge, will give to me on that day. And not to me only, but to all those who love his appearing. You got it? What's it?
Verse 8
Yeah.
says, finally there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give to me on that day, and not to me, but also to all who have loved his appearing.
Okay, what's verse 7? I have
7, I've fought the good fight, I've finished the race, I've kept the faith.
I've run my course, okay. What you get in there? I've kept it. The Lord, the righteous judge. You know what it's going to do? It's going to make the right decision. Right decision. So, you know what I do every day? I beg for mercy.
You do what?
I beg for mercy.
But yeah, me too. Every day.
Do we see it? Do we see how that's in there? You see what Jesus is talking about? Why it's right there? Pretty important, isn't it? Works in progress. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10. For we are his creation. We are His work of art. He's working on us on an everyday basis. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. If you have a need, please let your request be made known as we stand and sing to you.